She faked a pregnancy to keep her husband, but now she's pregnant for real, and the baby isn't his. Valentina had one dream: to give her only daughter a better life. A life without the poverty, loneliness, and struggle she'd endured herself. When Inna, her daughter, started seeing their neighbor Dennis, Valentina saw an opportunity. Dennis came from a good family, wealthy, well-connected, and studying to become a diplomat. He wasn't perfect, and the romance wasn't exactly passionate, but Valentina didn't care. She was done waiting for love. Love didn't pay rent. Stability did. And when Inna cried over a recent breakup with her former boyfriend Anton, Valentina knew she had to act. So she did. On Dennis' birthday, after a few drinks too many, she nudged Inna into his bedroom. The next morning, she gave her daughter a plan. Tell Dennis she was pregnant. It didn't matter that it wasn't true. What mattered was that Dennis did the right thing. And he did. They got married quickly. Quietly. The neighbors whispered, but Valentina smiled through it. Let them talk. Her daughter was married. Secure. Settled. But 2 months in, Inna still wasn't pregnant. She's trying, Valentina insisted to the local healer, the blind Madame Grace. She wants a baby so badly. But nothing's happening. The old woman said nothing at first. Then she sighed and pointed to the girl standing nervously beside her mother. She doesn't love him. Valentina's face twitched. That's not the issue. Don't lie to me, Grace said. You forced this marriage. There's no love between them, and the lie is eating away at her. Valentina swallowed hard. I just want her to have a better life. Then stop trying to control it. But Valentina wasn't ready to let go. She begged for help, just one small ritual to ensure the marriage survived. Grace finally relented. You've borrowed things from Dennis's family, haven't you? Valentina hesitated. Just little things, flour, salt. We're neighbors. Salt should never be borrowed between in-laws in the first 3 months of a marriage. You've cursed them. She handed Valentina a pouch of blessed salt and instructed her to burn a clean towel, one both Inna and Dennis had touched, and sprinkle its ashes with the salt. This will remove the energy of the curse, Grace warned. But it won't fix what you broke. Valentina didn't listen to the last part. She rushed home, bought a towel, and convinced Inna and Dennis to dry their hands with it under the pretense of tradition. Later that night, she burned it behind their building and covered the ashes with the blessed salt, relieved to have done her part. But nothing changed. The next morning, Inna still looked pale and quiet. Dennis still barely noticed her. And Valentina still worried. Then fate handed her a second opportunity. She ran into Anton, Inna's ex, on the street. How are you? She asked. He smiled. Bittersweet. Trying to move on. Still working at the auto repair shop? Yeah. And helping my mom out. She still works at the gynecology clinic. Valentina's ears perked up. Later that night, she burst into Inna's apartment with a wild plan. You'll fake a miscarriage. What? Listen. It's perfect. Anton's mother works at the clinic. You'll visit her, say you lost the baby. She'll give us a medical note. Dennis won't leave you. He'll feel too guilty. And we'll try again for a real one later. Inna stared at her mother like she'd gone mad. This is insane. Insane is ending up alone and poor. This is your chance, Inna. Eventually, Inna gave in. She didn't want to disappoint her mother again. So she called Anton. His voice was softer than she remembered. Kinder. I never stopped thinking about you, he admitted. Come to my birthday party tonight. We'll talk. Valentina helped pick out the dress. That night, Inna went. But she didn't come home. Valentina paced the floor like a mother waiting for news from the war front. At 2 a.m., her phone rang. I'm sorry, Mama, Inna whispered. You're drunk. Where are you? What happened? Did you talk to Anton? We talked. We kissed. No. I still love him. Valentina's heart sank. After everything I've done for you. You did it for yourself. And the line went dead. The next day, Ina didn't come by. Valentina told herself it was fine. That she'd come around. That it was just emotions. 2 weeks later, Ina showed up at her work. "Mama," she said. "I'm pregnant." Valentina's heart soared, then stopped. "It's not Dennis's," Ina added. "It's Anton's." Everything went cold. Valentina didn't remember walking home that day. She didn't remember how she got from the office to her front door. She didn't remember whether she cried, shouted, or simply stared at the walls. All she knew was one thing. Her plan had failed. Her daughter, the one she had pushed into marriage, lied for, begged for, was now pregnant, with the wrong man's baby. "You're ruining everything," Valentina hissed when Ina came by later that evening. "How could you be so careless?" "I didn't plan it," Ina said quietly. "But I'm happy. Happy. With Anton. The jobless grease monkey who cheated on you." "He didn't cheat on me. That was your lie, remember? You said you saw him with another girl." "I did see them." "No. You wanted to see them. You made it up because he wasn't good enough for you." "He isn't good enough. He's poor. He has no future. But he loves me," Ina snapped. "He sees me. Dennis doesn't even look at me unless I speak first. You're married to Dennis." "I was forced to marry Dennis." That stung. Valentina stood frozen, her fists clenched. "And what do you plan to do now?" "I don't know," Ina said. "But I'm not hiding. Not anymore." Later that night, Valentina couldn't sleep. She tossed and turned, haunted by thoughts of her daughter raising a child with no money, no home, no real support. This wasn't how things were supposed to go. In the early morning hours, she went back to blind Madame Grace. "You told me everything would be fine after the salt," she snapped. Grace didn't flinch. "I told you it would remove the curse. I never promised peace." "Ina's pregnant," Valentina said. "But not by her husband." The blind woman tilted her head. "So the truth has come out. I need her to forget Anton. Can you do something? A spell to erase love?" "Yes. Love isn't a stain you can wash away." "But he's wrong for her. That's not your choice. She's my daughter. She's not your puppet." Valentina felt like screaming. "She'll ruin her life. Just like I did. Then let her make her own mistakes." Valentina stood there, trembling, unsure whether she wanted to cry or slap the old woman. "Do you have something of hers?" Grace asked. Her hand instinctively went to her purse. Her scarf. She wore it yesterday. The woman touched it gently, frowning. "There is no joy in her heart. Only guilt. Not from you. From what's coming." "What's coming?" Valentina asked, heart suddenly racing. "I don't know yet." "That's not helpful." Grace reached for a small clay bowl and poured water into it. "Place the scarf in here tonight. If it floats, she will find peace. If it sinks, the storm hasn't passed." Valentina took the bowl and scarf home. That night, the scarf sank. 2 days later, Ina returned, pale, shaking, with her eyes swollen from tears. Valentina rushed to her. "What happened?" Ina sat on the couch and said nothing. "Was it Anton?" her mother asked. "Did he?" "I lost the baby." The world stopped. "I woke up bleeding," Ina whispered. "They rushed me to the hospital. There was nothing they could do." Valentina couldn't breathe. Her daughter had lost the child. The only thing keeping the lie alive. The only thing tying her to either man. "I'm so sorry," Valentina said, tears in her eyes. But Ina just looked at her with blank, emotionless eyes. "Are you? I didn't want this. But you caused it." Those words cut deeper than any knife. "I only wanted." "You wanted control," Inna snapped. You wanted a picture-perfect life, and you forced me into it. You lied, manipulated, bribed people. And now I've lost everything. Valentina fell silent. She couldn't deny any of it. That night, she lit a candle and stared into the flame until it burned out. She had crossed too many lines. And now, karma had come collecting. The next morning, Valentina made a call she never thought she'd make. Anton. It's Valentina. Silence on the other end. Don't hang up. Please. I have nothing to say to you. Inna lost the baby. A pause. Then. What? She's in bad shape. She's blaming herself. But it's not her fault. It's mine. Another pause. Where is she? Valentina gave him the address. And that evening, Anton came. When he walked into the room, Inna burst into tears. Valentina watched them embrace. It hurt, more than she expected. But for once, she didn't stop it. She stepped back and let it happen. Because she finally understood something. Sometimes love doesn't need permission. It just needs a chance. For days, the apartment was quiet. Inna barely spoke. Anton visited often, quietly helping, making her tea, brushing her hair when her hands trembled too much. Valentina stayed out of the way. She'd become a ghost in her own home. She cooked. She cleaned. She folded Inna's pajamas just the way her daughter liked. But nothing brought the old spark back. Not yet. One evening, as Anton slipped his shoes on by the door, Valentina finally spoke. She still cries every night. I know, he said without turning. I thought, once you were back she'd be okay. She needs more than just me. Valentina nodded, unsure what to say. Then, she still loves you, you know. I never stopped loving her, Anton replied. Not even when she married him. A bitter taste rose in her throat. I did that, she said. I ruined everything. You did what you thought was best. But it wasn't. I was wrong. Anton looked her in the eye for the first time. Thank you for saying that. After he left, Valentina sat on the couch and stared at the spot where her daughter had cried 2 nights ago. She remembered wiping those tears. Remembered how small Inna looked in her arms. She would never forget it. That night, she went to blind Madame Grace one last time. I need to fix this, she said. Not control it. Just fix it. Grace nodded solemnly. You finally understand. Is there anything I can do? Give her space. Let her make her own choice. And give him. Grace paused. Your blessing. Valentina flinched. Even if they live poor? Better poor and in love than rich and resentful. She smiled faintly. You have a way of making me feel both scolded and enlightened. Grace chuckled. That's my job. When Valentina got home, she found Anton and Inna laughing softly in the kitchen. It was the first time she'd heard her daughter laugh in weeks. Something fragile stirred in her chest. She waited until the dishes were done, then sat down across from them. Inna, she said. I want to apologize. Again. Her daughter looked up, cautiously. I was wrong to push you into a marriage you didn't want. Wrong to lie. Wrong to make you believe that your happiness didn't matter as much as my plan. Inna swallowed hard. Mama. Anton, Valentina continued, turning to him. I judged you. Lied about you. Tried to erase you from her life. And still, you came back when she needed you. He nodded slowly. Because I love her. I know. And I think. I finally understand what love actually means. A heavy silence followed. Then Inna rose and hugged her. It was the warmest hug Valentina had ever felt. A week later, Dennis came by. He looked tired. Hollow-eyed. A backpack slung over one shoulder. I heard what happened, he said. Inna nodded, standing in the doorway. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I knew something was off, he admitted. You were distant. Quiet. I never meant to hurt you. Dennis forced a sad smile. It's okay. Honestly, I think we both knew it wasn't right. They stood there, facing each other like the strangers they'd become. Can I ask something? He said. Sure. Was it Anton all along? Ina didn't hesitate. Yes. Dennis exhaled. Well, I hope you're happy. I think I will be. He nodded, then turned and left. Just like that. It was over. Later that night, Valentina sat with Ina on the couch. They sipped tea in silence until her daughter finally said, Do you regret any of it? I regret trying to choose your life for you, Valentina replied. But I don't regret fighting for your future. I just did it wrong. Ina leaned her head on her mother's shoulder. We're okay now, she whispered. Aren't we? Valentina kissed her hair. We will be. A month passed. Anton found steady work, not glamorous, but good, honest labor. He rented a small apartment, not far from Ina's mother. They didn't rush things. But they spent every evening together. One Sunday morning, Valentina baked a pie. She wasn't sure why. Maybe it was peace offering. Maybe it was hope. She walked to Anton's building, climbed the stairs, and knocked. When he opened the door, his eyebrows lifted. Hi, she said. I brought cherry pie. Anton blinked. Then grinned. Come in. She handed him the warm dish. He set it down gently. They stood for a moment in an awkward, unexpected silence. Then Valentina cleared her throat. So, when's the wedding? Anton chuckled. We haven't talked about that yet. Well, when you do. I promise not to interfere this time. He looked at her kindly. That means a lot. She turned to go. But before she left, she added, I want to be there. Not to control things. Just to celebrate. You will be, Anton said. And for the first time in years, Valentina felt like a real mother again. Not a manager, not a planner. Just someone who was finally learning to let go. It was raining the morning Ina and Anton came by with the news. Valentina was in the kitchen, making soup, when the doorbell rang. She opened the door, saw them standing there, soaked, smiling, nervous. Come in, she gasped, ushering them out of the cold. Anton carried a small bag. Ina had her hands on her belly. Mama, she said, we need to talk. Valentina froze. Her eyes darted from the bag to her daughter's face. Is it bad? Ina smiled. No, not bad. Anton stepped forward. It's good. Then he reached into the bag and pulled out a tiny pair of knitted socks. I'm pregnant, Ina said softly. Again. Valentina gasped, tears immediately springing to her eyes. Oh my God, oh my God. She pulled them both into a hug, trembling. The memory of the last time, the loss, the blood, the hospital, flickered like a storm behind her eyes. But now this felt different. Real. Pure. Chosen. Does Dennis know? Valentina asked gently as they sat around the table later, sipping tea. I told him, Ina said. He was sad. But he understood. And you're sure? Valentina pressed. I am, Ina said. This time I chose it. No lies. No plans. No tricks. Valentina looked at Anton. And you? I've been ready since I was 17, he said with a smile. She laughed, wiping a tear. Then I'm ready too. The months that followed were full of small miracles. Ina glowed. Anton worked hard, picked up evening shifts, and painted the nursery himself. Valentina, true to her word, didn't interfere, but she was always nearby with warm soup, prenatal vitamins, and hand-me-down baby clothes she'd kept for years, just in case. She didn't ask too many questions. Didn't tell them what they should do. She simply helped when asked, and only then. And slowly, something shifted. The air between them softened. The past began to blur at the edges. Even the ghost of Dennis faded, replaced by real laughter and midnight cravings for pickles. Valentina even caught herself smiling at Anton when he danced around the kitchen to make Inna laugh. She liked him now. Really liked him. It was a cold morning in February when Inna went into labor. Anton was at work. Valentina was organizing a drawer when her daughter's panicked voice called from the hallway. "Mama!" She rushed out, saw Inna leaning on the wall, holding her belly. "I think it's time." Without hesitation, Valentina helped her into the car, drove like a woman possessed, and held her daughter's hand through every contraction until Anton arrived. Breathless, panicked, pale. "I'm here!" he shouted as he burst into the room. Inna laughed through her pain. "You're late. Only by a lifetime," he grinned, then kissed her forehead. Valentina stepped back, watching the scene unfold. Something warm settled in her chest. Pride, love, maybe even peace. She went home that night, knowing everything would be okay. The next morning, she stood outside the hospital room with a paper cup of vending machine coffee in hand. Anton stepped out with red eyes and a shaking smile. "She's okay," he said. "They're both okay." Valentina's knees buckled, and she leaned against the wall. "Do you want to meet your grandson?" he asked. Her heart stopped. "Son." Anton nodded. Valentina walked in slowly. Inna looked up from her hospital bed, tired but radiant, and held out the bundle. "He's perfect," Inna whispered. Valentina leaned over and kissed her daughter's forehead. Then she turned to the tiny baby swaddled in blue. "Hello, Miracle," she said softly. "Welcome to the world." The baby was named Artem, after Inna's late father. It was Anton's idea. "I want him to grow up with strength," he said. "With legacy. With forgiveness." Valentina had never cried so much in her life. Some months later, on a sunny spring afternoon, they held a small gathering in the backyard. Not a wedding. A celebration. A new beginning. There was no priest, no bouquet toss, no choreographed first dance. Just Anton, Inna, and baby Artem in a stroller, surrounded by friends, neighbors, and one proud grandmother who had finally truly let go. Valentina raised a glass. "To truth," she said. "To love chosen freely. And to knowing when to step back so others can step forward." Everyone cheered. Later that night, when the guests were gone, Valentina sat under the stars with blind Madame Grace. "You were right," she said. "I usually am." Valentina laughed. "I should have listened sooner. You weren't ready." "I was scared," she admitted. "That she'd choose wrong. That she'd suffer." "And she did," Grace said. "But that's life. We all suffer. But when we choose our path, the pain makes us stronger." "I still worry." "You're a mother. You always will." They sat in silence for a long moment. Then Grace stood. "You know, there's a saying," she said. "When a mother lets go, a daughter learns to fly." Valentina looked up. "I think she's flying now." And as she walked home that night, the stars above her brighter than ever, Valentina finally felt free.